Welcome to the On Deck podcast for all your baseball DFS needs with your superstar hosts, fantasy baseball experts, Casey, Bubba, Bogman, and the Welsh. The On Deck podcast is brought to you commercial-free by LineStar app, the #1 top-rated data and analytics tool for daily fantasy sports.
What is up, everybody? Back with another episode of the On Deck podcast, a DFS show for your baseball DFS needs for the LineStar app. Go check it out in Google Play, Apple Podcast, all that, Apple App Store, all that good stuff. Get it the podcast, rate, review, check it all out. You can find me on Twitter at BDNtrick. I am Casey Bubba. My co-host on this evening's edition, out of our threesome, the three amigos, we get Bogman at Bogman Sports. How we doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. It is a wonderful time of year. Baseball is in full force. There's like so much to talk about, so much fun, as you boys like to say. So it's things are good. Things are good. Monday action. We had some day baseball. Nelson Cruz, he's not 40, right?
Did you see like who hits an opposite field almost bomb that goes foul, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's so rare to see that. And then he hit a laser for a home run the next pitch. It was insane. But yeah, Nelson Cruz is not human. Well, he may have some stuff helping.
Yeah, we mean there's maybe some lingering effects. So hey, whatever it takes. Like our old buddy Joey P used to say, let them all do it. Let's just have some fun and enjoy baseball. So yeah, we got that going for us. The Dodgers are just pounding the A's. That's just I think it's gonna be a trend this year with the Dodgers. That's always going to be something. The White Sox are starting to get going. Carlos Rodon, Boggs. Carlos Rodon, the guy, #1 draft pick, like feels like 25 years ago.
I mean, I just feel like he's always coming off an injury because he usually is. And he looked fairly dominant tonight. So it was a fun one to watch. Yeah,
the Yankees shut down the Orioles 7-0. The Cubbies got
with that grand slam.
Yeah, your boy Stan. I should have let you have the floor there. That is Bogman's boy for now until he loses his oblique or a pec or something. Like one of his 27,000 muscles that I don't have that he does, he's going to end up doing something. So he's got that going for him. The Cubbies, Javi Baez got it going. JD Martinez, Boggs, just continues to rake. Another bomb tonight, 11-2 Red Sox over the Rays. My goodness.
I think I picked him for a bomb on opening day. He got rained out. Then we couldn't pick him for the next day because he was the early slate. And then he's hit a homer in all the rest of the game since. So, yeah, continues to rake and hopefully keeps doing it.
Yeah, other than that, DeGrom looked great. Mets bullpen things. DeGrom starts.
It's officially baseball season, isn't it? I mean, when the Mets are out there blowing starts for him, they said on the broadcast that he has had 31 potential wins blown by the bullpen. And I think they said he has 87 wins in his career, something like that. So, I mean, it's just over a third of those could have been wins. That's a tough draw for him, but it's business as usual, in Queens.
Yeah, business as usual in Queens. Other than that, the Gigantes, pray for Fernando Tatis Jr. Not sure if you saw it. I was watching it live. And then every time I saw a replay, I cringed more and more. The shoulder's messed up. I didn't say a Holiday Inn Express, so no doctor, but we still have to wait for the news there. It doesn't look good though.
It's the same thing that he was dealing with in the spring too, was the shoulder. So, I think he's going to miss potentially a decent amount of time here. And then when he comes back, it's something that if he does come back, if he doesn't opt for surgery, then they're going to probably baby him and give him rest days and stuff like that. So, I mean, we're going to see Kim in way more lineups. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, Kim came in right away for him, hit in the 2-hole because that's where Tatis was. Of course, we'll see where that goes on Tuesday's lineup card. But if he doesn't have surgery, which many people think he might have to, he's going to have a rough season. That's for sure. So that's a downer. We need Tatis in baseball.
Those ones always hurt. Key Brian Hayes went out the other day with the wrist injury, and those injuries are the ones. Yeah, they linger. They sap power. Those hand, those wrists, the shoulder, the elbow, anything with the arm. I mean, if it's an arm for a pitcher, they're just dusted. You know what I mean? You can't trust them for pretty much the whole year unless it was really, really minor inflammation. But, such is life in the baseball season. It's 162 long one. So hopefully, even if Tatis has to miss a decent amount of time, hopefully he comes back and we can start getting him back in lineup. So fingers crossed.
No doubt about it. But let's move on to Tuesday. Before you do that, go check out the LineStar On Deck podcast and give a rate and review on Apple. It's the only place you can really do that. But wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find it. So enjoy all that good stuff. And again, check out the app in your Apple App Store or Google Play. And check out at LineStar DFS on Twitter for all the good giveaways on that stuff. We got 8-game main slate on Tuesday, Bogman. There's a couple early games as we're still doing some opening days and all that fun stuff. But 8 games. I'll give the totals, or actually we'll give the totals as we go. Different formats. Forgot. We kick it off with the one, the only. We have the Mets at the Phillies. Marcus Stroman coming back after taking the COVID year off. You got Chase Anderson taking the bump in that one opposite Stroman. The total is 9. We got some nice totals tonight to talk about. But Mets, Phillies, total of 9. Any interest in Stroman or maybe Anderson possibly?
I think I like Stroman. There's a lot of good pitchers on the slate today, though, so it's going to be kind of tough to pick and choose through them. But I do like Stroman in this matchup.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on Stroman. I think he makes for a really nice SP2 on DraftKings if you're going to pay up for your second option. 8,600 on DraftKings, 8,000 on FanDuel. I think there's a couple other people I like more on FanDuel per se, but I could see the appeal of Stroman to be a little different. Strikeouts were up. Hopefully that continues. Since we like Stroman, maybe not Phillies bats, but you never know. Any bats of interest for you in this game?
Yeah, there's a couple that I like in this one. I like JT Realmuto, especially, for the catcher spot in DK, 4,800 there, 3,300, but 3 for 5 in his career against Stroman. So he's a decent one. Matt Joyce, if he is in the lineup, of course, we do have to check that because he's not a regular, but he is 4 for 11 with a bomb off of Stroman in his career. And I also like Brandon Nimmo, who is at 3,800 and 2,900. He's got a homer in 6 at-bats. He has 3 hits against Anderson, so I think that's a decent one. Conforto is also pretty hot right now, too. 3,700 and 3,200. Those are the bats I like for this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Mets, Chase Anderson, we know we've been able to attack in years past. They're reasonably priced on DraftKings. I don't mind them there, but on FanDuel, you get some nice advantages here. Conforto at 32 is nice. Nemo's 29, as you mentioned. Maybe Dom Smith cracks the lineup with the righty on the mound. He sat with Pilar getting the start on Monday. He's 3,100. But the one that stands out to me, especially if you're playing cash games, Jeff McNeil at only $2,700 on FanDuel.
He's been cheap every day.
Yeah, that's how it was last year, too. It was bizarre as all get up that they just gave him no love ever. He's 38 on DK, which is still a very good cash game price. Maybe not so much tournaments there, but on cash games, I do like him at $2,800. So is some appeal in this game. Last thing I'll say is if you are fading Stroman and you're looking for some value, like Didi Gregorius at 27 and Alec Baum at 27 on FanDuel, you can definitely have some fun with those two in your lineups. Tampa Bay at the Boston Red Sox. Tyler Glasnow and the Slutter, which was phenomenal in his first start, going up against Martin Perez. The total is 9 in this one, Bogman. I'm pretty sure we're not going to focus on Martin Perez, but you get Tyler Glasnow, 1070. He's the most expensive pitcher on FanDuel, which was a little bit surprising to me, to be honest. And he's 9,100 on DK, much more reasonably priced for me. Any interest on Glasnow tonight?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to have the interest that, like last week, he was great a couple days ago. So I'm going to be right back in there. I was kind of in on Waka yesterday because Boston had been somewhat cold outside of JD Martinez, but they sure did brighten up today. So, but I think Glasnow is a decent start here. He's, like I said, there's a bunch of decent pitchers today, so going to be tough to pick one. But you said Glasnow is the most expensive, and it's because he's already been good, and I think he can do it again today.
Yeah, I'm with you. FanDuel, he's very pricey. There's guys cheaper that I want, but that might lower the ownership there if you're thinking that route. 9,100 on DK, very much in play, especially if you're paying up for 2 pitchers in cash games or whatever. Glasnow very much on board, which means for me, Bogman, I'm pretty much fading the Boston bats. Tampa Bay does interest me, though. What bats are you looking at in this game?
I like Mike Brousseau, 4 for 10 career against Perez with a homer. And then Mike Zunino has 3 career homers against Perez, and he is real cheap. 4,100 on DK, but 2,200 because you don't need the catcher. on FanDuel. Yandy Diaz, cheap as well, 5 for 15, 333 career average against Perez as well. Those are some cheap options that I like. And of course, we're fading Boston, of course, but JD Martinez is white hot right now. So, 3,500 on FanDuel is really cheap for him too. So I like that price.
Yeah, he's much more in play for me on FanDuel than on DraftKings. 5K. I love JD. I played him again on Monday. I just can't stomach 5K against Glasnow. Maybe that's me, but I won't be going there. I do like the value. DraftKings at least paid attention knowing Martine's on the mound and priced him up a little bit more than normal. Usually we get Broso cheaper, but he's 43. Still could play him there. Randy Arozarena is going to break out pretty soon. I know it's
amazing catch tonight. Good Lord.
I know it's early in the season, but the bat's going to get going. So he's intriguing. But if you're looking for one more value with Tampa Bay, Manny Margot is 3,900 on DraftKings, and he's 2,800 on FanDuel. That's a guy I'd have circled, especially if you're stacking up the Rays. I like him. But even in cash games, I could go to some Manny Margot at those price points and enjoy he's batting like 5th right now. So I'm a big fan of that. We're going to the Windy City, Milwaukee at Chicago, Wrigley Field. No total on this one as you have to wait for weather. I didn't mention weather beforehand because really there's not really major concerns right now as of recording. If something changes, I'm a weatherman. I'm allowed to make mistakes. But there was nothing there. But we have Freddie Peralta versus Adbert Alzolay. This is a tough one for me.
What do you think the over is going to be on this one?
Well, because everyone loves Peralta, I'm going to give it.
There's a lot of Alzolay love too. I tell you what,
coming in
8.5. Yeah, I think 8.5 is a good number. 8.5 or 9, somewhere in that neighborhood. But I thought we are going to see crazy high totals today, and there were some, but I think most of the runs were off of. I mean, Montas got crushed, but the Twins did rake, but they weren't in the slate we were talking about yesterday. So there were some decent totals, but the pitching was much better than I thought it was going to be last night. So tonight, this one it makes me wary, but I think there's some bats to buy here.
I'm with you. I love Freddie Peralta, and I'm interested in Alzolay. I am, but 7,470 or 76 and 74 on DraftKings. Little steep. I could see the Alzolay side if you need to be different, but it's tough for me. On FanDuel, 6,462, they're cheap, but you're going to need at least a quality start in 6 innings, which I don't see either of them doing. So that gets very tricky. So I'm with you on the bats. Which ones are you targeting?
For me, I like Colton Wong in this one. He is 3,300 and 3,400. For some reason more expensive on FanDuel, so cheaper on DK, 3,300, which is strange. Keston Hiura, the opposite, expensive on DK at 4,000, 2,700 on FanDuel. Lorenzo Cain, a cheap buy, if he's in the lineup, of course. It's something you have to check, but I do like him at 3,100 and 2,500, just barely scraping the bottom of the barrel there. Those are the bats that I like in this one.
Yeah, I like the Colton Wong call quite a bit. They keep pricing him down. I think in tournaments, he's going to have a game. It's like once a week, it feels like Jock Jams does it. He's 38 versus Freddie Peralta. And if Freddie's just throwing the heat and he can't locate his slider, that's great. Otherwise, if he goes short, you get some middle relief innings, maybe a Josh Lindblom or something. Jock Jams at 38 on DraftKings is very appealing. He's not that expensive on FanDuel either. So you can enjoy that quite a bit. He's only 24 on FanDuel. So keep that in mind. The only other person I'll mention, Omar Narvaez went deep on Monday. He's $2,700 on DraftKings. If you're looking for a cheapy catcher, I love playing some Narvaez right now. So that'd be a guy I'd have circled as well. All right, Toronto at Texas and their full stadium in Arlington. I think
they were only full for the first game. I think they're going to
the first game.
Have a smaller crowd, but it was crazy to see.
Yep. Yeah, I had to triple take at the pictures I saw.
You're like, is this a highlight from last year? Right,
what
right.
Year is this?
2 years ago.
Tanner Rourke versus Dane Dunning. Dane Dunning is going to open apparently, and there's a guy following him about the 3rd or 4th inning. So keep that in mind if you're looking at pitching. Over under is 9.5. And somehow the Jays are only minus 135 favorites. On paper, I'm thinking they just destroy Texas, but then again, Tanner Rourke. So I'm not taking any pictures here. Are you, Bogman?
Well, no, I'm not. No.
I like all the bats here, though. What do you like, Bogman?
I like David Dahl in this one. He's cheap, 3,500, 3,200. But Rowdy Tellez at 32 and 22 on FanDuel, great cheap option. Can you tell me why Vlad Jr. is 3,000 on FanDuel?
Like, that's a broken algorithm, folks.
I don't get it, so I will absolutely take it. In fact, I want to I just double check that price to make sure I had that one right on my sheet. It is right. So he's at 3,000, 4,400 on DK, still worth paying up for. Nick Solak at 31 and 27, and Lourdes Gurriel at 38 and 23 on FanDuel. I mean, these are some good buys here.
Yeah, this is one of those games we circle. We talked about a lot in the show last year. There's the pricing will be different on certain games, way more than normal. This is one of them. And on FanDuel especially, this is a game where if you want to pay up for pitching, there's a couple names we haven't talked about. We talked class now. There's two more to come that are going to be very popular for good reason. You stack this game, or at least stack parts of it. This will give you tons of value, tons of upside. Gallo's a little pricey, but you can afford him. Nate Lowe's 33, but you mentioned the Jays going up in that match against Dunning and company. You got the Simeon at 31, Guerrero 3K, Bichette 3K. Biggio went deep on Monday. He's 27. Grichuk's on fire. You mentioned Gurriel. See what the lineup looks like and find a happiness stack for you. You can make a lot of nice plays below 3K and below and enjoy it. And you see the Texas side. Eli White's playing a lot. He's 22. You can definitely like IKF's leading off for crying out loud. He's $2,900. Like there's all kinds of tasty goodness, especially on FanDuel. Still not bad on DK. I like it on DK. You can make it work on DK, but on FanDuel, it's one of the games I kind of have circled. You can stack here and still get very good pitching. And potentially, if this game goes off, you're going to be seeing some very nice green screens. So this is kind of like that Kansas City, Texas game I liked last week.
Speaking of stacks in this next game, woof.
Oh, are you talking Coors Field? Arizona, Colorado. Total
with
is
some
10.5.
bad pitching.
It says total is 10.5. I thought that was the Rockies team total because Luke Weaver's on the mound, everybody, against German Marquez.
You know, the best part about yesterday was that the Diamondbacks couldn't lose because they didn't play. So,
well, I don't even know where to go with this because
I used to have bits like I would do X, Y, or Z every time the Diamondbacks lose. I quit that this year because I would literally die. So glad that we don't have it anymore. So
Ketel Marte is the most expensive outfielder on all of FanDuel, so at least he's getting love there. But you can still get some discounts with some D-backs players in Colorado. There's some discounts on Rockies as well, which you should definitely take because Luke Weaver is not good at baseball, folks. Bogman, what bats are you looking at here?
I mean, you know, you got to check which one is in, but Garrett Hampson, 3,200 on both. So real cheap on DK. Chris Owings, 3,300 on DK, 3,600 on FanDuel. I mean, if he's in the lineup, that's a good spot to be in. Tapia's banged up, but he's 4 for 7 in his career against Weaver. Elias Diaz, if he should get the start at catcher, 5 for 13 career against Weaver there. Trevor Story is a decent price. I mean, 5,400 and 4,100, especially on FanDuel. Charlie Blackmon is solid. Eduardo Escobar is 10 for 17 in his career against Marquez. That's hitting 588 with a bomb. David Peralta is 15 for 38 against Marquez. I mean, these teams see each other so much. Christian Walker is hitting 333 against Marquez in his career, and Marte has some in there. And like you said, cheap options too. CJ Cron, 3,700, 4,000. He's cheaper on DK than he is on FanDuel, and Perdomo, 2,500 on both. Just a shortstop in Colorado, not a bad option.
Yeah, so much value here. Like it's crazy. Cron has been cheap all along. Christian Walker's interesting. I love the Escobar shout. So I'm at 32, and I just kind of like scratched my head for a minute. But Hampson, Owens, the only other guy that you didn't mention, there are two. If Sam Hilliard ever cracks the lineup consistently, please play him. Tapia's banged up, so please put Hilliard in the lineup. Bud Black, you moron. Make that happen, please. And then the other thing I would say is if Diaz isn't starting, Dom Nunez is 2,900 also on DK. So
and you called him out, and he had a bomb the other night. So
yeah, I like the kid. He's an offensive talent. Like Diaz is a little more the defensive guy, but Nunez, he's the bat. So keep that in mind. All right, let's go to Oakland. Dodgers, A's, Kershaw, Bassett. The two aces going at it. Over-unders 8.5. Kershaw got shelled in Colorado. Gets Oakland. This could be a little nicer. Are you in on either pitcher here?
Yeah, I'm in on Kershaw. I mean,
9K on FanDuel.
Expensive for sure, but I mean, and there's a bunch of expensive pitchers, but I think in some cash games, I'm definitely going to roll out Kershaw for sure.
Yep. Are you targeting any bats in this one? Because Bassett, the thing with him is the Dodgers can hit anybody, but Bassett finds a way to like limit damage.
Yeah, I don't really like a lot of bats. I have two on the list here for you. Mark Canha is just hot right now. He's like that Hansel, so hot right now. 4,000 on DK, 2,700 on FanDuel, decent value. And you got it. I mean, this guy, me and a friend of mine have a bet on how many games AJ Pollock is going to play. I obviously don't like him being a Diamondbacks fan, and him talking smack after leaving the Diamondbacks to go to the enemy Dodgers. But this price on FanDuel of 2,500 is just too tantalizing. If he's in there, I think you kind of have to play him. 4,000 on DK, so it doesn't make him necessarily a buy there. But 2,500 on FanDuel, if he's in the lineup, I think you got to get him in for that price.
Yeah, we know it's a good play because we got Bogman to say tantalizing. So
yeah, that's right. And I also said start AJ Pollock. So
yes, true. Very true. The only other thing I'd mention is watch the lineup, because when they make their weird rotations, certain times Lux leads off. If that's the case, he's $2,900 on FanDuel. Play him.
Yeah,
like that's insane.
They've been doing weird stuff with the lineup so far. Like everyone's gotten a day off already. Mookie and Bellinger, everyone's had a day off. So very strange stuff. So you got to make sure, even on those big buys, that they're in the lineup for sure.
Embarrassment of riches. White Sox, Mariners, Giolito, Paxton, over under 7.5. Giolito is $9,600 on FanDuel, which gets me kind of giddy. And we have 9,300 on DK. I'm just going to say it real quick, and I'll let you have the floor. I'm going to play Giolito everywhere on both sides. He's my top option tonight. Like, this is too good. We saw what Rodon did to this team. We saw what Giolito did to the Angels. He's the third price pitcher on FanDuel, and he's like the third or fourth on DK. I want all the Giolito.
Yeah, I mean, look, Glasnow, Giolito, Kershaw, and the next guy we're going to be talking about, all very expensive because they're great. And I knew Giolito was going to be your guy because he's not just your guy in DFS.
Yes,
you own like 30,000 shares of him in season long as well. So I know you're
every time he takes the mound.
Invested in Giolito, and I think you're right. I think he's going to be the number one option because he's the best price of these guys, I think. So I mean, he's going to be a high percentage owned too. So just remember that as well.
Yep. So for that reason, I won't be taking any Mariners bats. I will say, if you want to be contrarian, no one's going to own Mariners bats because it's just not going to happen. So if you want to do it, go for it. I'm not going there. But Paxton on the other side, not bad. We don't know how long he's going to go. He's always injury risk. So they might take it easy with them. The White Sox are phenomenal versus lefties. Tim Anderson probably not playing, though. That's one of the guys. Any interest in the White Sox bats?
Well, Yerman, he's unstoppable. So 3,500, 2,600 on DK and FanDuel. Adam Eaton, not a bad price either, 3,500, 3,400, so cheaper on DK, having them only separated by $100. And then Madrigal, if he's in the lineup, 2,100, super cheap, 2,900. I think those guys are decent buys, along with, of course, Abreu. If you want to buy Abreu, go buy him for sure.
Yeah, Abreu is always a good call versus left-handed pitching. Grandal, switch hitter. If you're paying up at catcher, you don't need to. But like you said, Madrigal, 29 on DK, 21 on FanDuel is very good. The other option with Anderson beat up, Lurie Garcia is 2,300 on FanDuel, and he is 3,400 on DK. So if you need to find some more value, you can go there. Lou Bob's always in play, but I'll probably pass on him. It's mainly Abreu, Mr. Mercedes himself, and a few others. Those would be my main targets there. And we wrap it up in San Diego. Giants at the Padres. Aaron Sanchez, man, he's back on the mound going up against Yu Darvish, over under 8. Darvish is 10-2 on FanDuel, second highest price, 63 for Sanchez. On DK, Darvish is 10,000, the only $10,000 pitcher on DK. Sanchez is 63 on DraftKings. Any interest in these arms?
I don't mind paying for Darvish in at least a couple lineups because I think Giolito is going to be the number one owned pitcher. So if you want to be a little bit different and pay up for Darvish, I think this is one of the better spots to do it. So I will have Darvish shares.
Yeah, I don't hate this at all. I think it's, on Monday, it was pretty much DeGrom and nobody else. So you just kind of either ate the chalk or prayed. Here you can go on the good old LineStar app, and they have ownership projections that come out in the afternoon that go with the optimizer and all that cool stuff. and you can kind of start making your differences. And maybe if you're multi-entering, you want multi-lineups projected, you can alter your projections on ownership and maybe still have some Giolito, but be different to the field, and then go heavier with Darvish or whatever. There's ways to do it, and that's a good point you make that you can do that. I will say this much on DraftKings: if you want to be really contrarian with your number 2 pick, if you want to punt, if you want to get weird, Aaron Sanchez in that increased velocity, no Tatis, maybe more strikeouts in that lineup. I don't hate him at $6,300 as an SP2, but he's not a must at all. But I always try to find one punt. He's about the only one I can kind of be okay with on Tuesday night.
I'm with you on that.
What bats do you like tonight?
In this one, I've got Tommy Pham, 3,900 and 3,000. Jake Cronenworth, 3,600, 3,300. Donovan Solano, 3,000 and 2,900. Yastrzemski's coming off a bomb the other night. La Stella is priced really well at 3,200, 2,500. And Dickerson, 3 for 6 in his career off of Darvish, 3,300 and 2,600 is a decent buy as well.
Yeah, Dickerson's always got that nice value. They just don't raise his price because he doesn't play enough because platoons. But Cronenworth, way too cheap still. I imagine he continues to hit towards the top of that order at 36 on DK and 30. And I just blanked. On FanDuel, he is 33. That's right. I was right. So, I think that's definitely one that I keep plugging into cash almost every day. I just keep doing that. Otherwise, just kind of mix and match. But I'm not too invested in the bats here. I do see the appeal. Just some other places I like to plant my flags. With planting flags being said, if you're starting a cash lineup tonight, Bogman, who is your top cash game pitcher? As we mentioned, you have Kershaw, Giolito, Darvish, Glasnow. It's got to be one of those 4.
Yeah, it's Giolito. And I know you're going to say the same thing, but I think he's the best value of the pitchers out there. So it's got to be Giolito.
Yep, 96 on FanDuel, 93 on DK. You get that discount, and he's really, to me, he's the best pitcher on the slate, but at worst, he doesn't differentiate too much, and you get to save some money. If you're doing a GPP, though, and you want to be a little contrarian, where do you pivot off of Giolito?
Yeah, I think Stroman, who we mentioned at the very top, I think he's a good option. I'm also into Freddie Peralta at 7,600 on DK. So Stroman at 86, Peralta at 76. Those are going to be my pivots.
I like it. That's some nice GPP savings there. I'm really looking forward to seeing ownership projections on Glasnow and Darvish. I'm really, really curious on those two, because if Glasnow comes in low owned, which I think he might, especially on FanDuel, where he's priced up so much more than the rest, I think he's $1,100 more than Giolito. That can be very entertaining. Before we give our home run calls, what stacks are you looking at? Because obviously Coors is in play, but anything else tickle your fancy?
I mean, Coors being the biggest one, that just for the experience that these teams have against each other as well. I think you could probably, if you wanted to stack, I just blanked. If you wanted to stack Toronto against Texas, I think that's a decent one as well. I don't like what they're doing there. If you want to stack Tampa Bay against Perez, I think that would be a decent one as well.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think Toronto, Texas, that game stack is the pivot off of Coors Field. I'm a big fan there, but if you've listed it already long enough, Texas, I have a feeling they're pitching so bad I'm going to be involved one way or another in their games over and over again. Like Tampa Bay quite a bit. And then the Mets are going to be interesting against Chase Anderson. That'd be the last one I have there. All right, Bogman, we have made it to the end. Home run call of the day. Who's going deep to try to win some listeners some free swag?
Well, look, I am very self-deprecating in my life, and I'm just going to go once again against my Diamondbacks. I think I've done it 2 out of 4 days so far. I'm going to give me Trevor Story to go deep against Luke Weaver. I mean, I just think that's an easy one.
That's very fair. Don't hate that at all. I'm going back to the well, to where we started this show last week. Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo is taking Tanner Roark deep. I'm in love with what he's doing at the plate. He's being very cautious. He's walking a ton. He's locked in. So give me some Joey Gallo. You've got – I just blanked. Who did you just pick?
No, I just picked Trevor Story.
Trevor Story. I got Joey Gallo. It's all good. Everybody go check out the LineStar app in your app stores, Google Play, and on Apple, and go give a rate and review on your iTunes platform. Or if you like to watch the video, go to the LineStar YouTube, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. But until next time, you can find Bogman on the Twitter at Bogman Sports. Welsh is on Twitter at IsItTheWelsh. I am at BDintric. We will catch you guys next time. Good luck.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the LineStar App On Deck podcast. Download LineStar app from the App Store or go to linestarapp.com for all your DFS baseball needs. If you love the On Deck podcast, support Casey, Bubba, Bogman, and the Welsh by rating and subscribing. Good luck!